You know, the United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the ape, the young man who has become a legend in his own time. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Alrighty then, everybody. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. And it's on blogtalkradio.com, the Ron Kelly Show.com. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Kind of feeling today. Yeah, it's actually, I was prepared to take the night off, because I still can't figure this thing out. With my Facebook issues, I still have. Oh boy. Anyway, everybody, welcome. You know what? Let's take a break and we'll come back with more of the program. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com. We're back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com, Facebook, I think, YouTube, LinkedIn, just all over the place. WBOK 12:30 a.m. in New Orleans, where I was on WBOK 12:30 a.m. Monday, and then I was on again on Wednesday. So shout out to the people at WBOK. Got a warm welcome, reception, whatever you want to call it down there. And the people have embraced the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, so I'm thankful for that, grateful for that. Thank you so much to the people down there. Thanks to the people down there at New Orleans, Louisiana. There's a lot's been going on. I had another shooting down there yesterday. Another shooting, and another shooting in Louisiana yesterday. It's unbelievable what's going on down there. Anyway, everybody, it's about just a couple minutes past the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. And if you can't get the Ron Kelly Show on Facebook, just hop on over to YouTube, or you can get it on LinkedIn. For those of you who have a connection with LinkedIn, you can go over to LinkedIn and you can have you can check the Ron Kelly Show out over there. It's just a couple minutes past the hour. So a lot of shooting going on lately. A lot of shooting going on lately. Seems to be a prior. See, I keep freezing up on Facebook. We keep freezing up on Facebook for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. Seems to be a prior. Keep freezing up. Anyway, it's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program on another Thursday. NFL draft night tonight, so I'll be checking out to see who's making stupid mistakes and and who's doing the right thing. I'll be checking that out a little bit later on today. Anyway, everybody, it's about it's 5 minutes into the program. It's Ron Kelly's show. And again, if you got trouble getting me on Facebook, I tell you, I'm pulling my hair out, whatever hair I do have, trying to figure out what's going on with Facebook. And I don't know. I don't know. If the screen is frozen, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, everybody, it's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. Yeah, another shooting in Louisiana at a mall in Baton Rouge. That means Baton Rouge means red stick in French. And there was another shooting today in Baton Rouge, and it's just one shooting after another. America is the most. There's more gun violence in America than in any other country. It's unbelievable. There's more gun violence in America than in any other country. There's been. Last year, for example, there was 425 mass shootings. Mass shootings is where 4 or more people get shot. Now, they don't necessarily have to die, but when 4 or more people get shot, that's called a mass shooting. And last year in the United States of America, it was 425 mass shootings, and almost 500 people in those mass shootings were killed. So America... America the Beautiful is very dangerous right now, and you can't go anywhere. There was a in the mall. 2 people, from what I understand from the news reports, that 2 people were fighting with each other, and it got out of hand. And of course, the people started shooting. The people, whoever it was, who got into this altercation in the food court, and then people started shooting, and no one, miraculously, nobody was killed, but 10 people were wounded. So it's a good thing that nobody can shoot, because nobody was killed in the nobody was killed in the shooting that took place in the mall in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So, man, I tell you, the United States of America, I mean, there's a lot of good, but there's a lot of bad too. And it's just one thing after another. You can't go nowhere now, to the mall, to the restaurant. You just can't go anywhere anymore. It seems, with all the gun violence that's going on in the United States of America. We have the Second Amendment. And I've said this years ago that we're going to have like an abbreviated Ron Kelly show today. We're going to take it to 7:30. We're going to close the show out there. We may close the show out there. But yeah, I've always said that, America, there's freedom is good in some ways, but in other ways, freedom is bad. In the United States justice system with the plea bargains and, where you offer somebody something so they won't be make an offer to someone so there won't be a trial. You want to save the money is number one. The second thing is you want to save the family from having to live through whatever it was that happened once again. And, so people kind of get rewarded after they commit a crime. They get rewarded for confessing, admitting their guilt. So there's no trial. So the money is saved. There's, transporting because these things are expensive, transporting the prisoner back and forth from jail. Because in a trial, in an arraignment, you can do an arraignment from a video. You can use a video for an arraignment. But when there's a trial, you have to bring the person, whoever it is that's being, or the accused, or the defendant, they have to come into court because they have the right, through the Constitution, they have the right to confront their accuser. So that person has to be in the courtroom. So to save money, a lot of times they'll just say, well, okay, you confess and we won't give you the death penalty. We'll just give you life in prison, which, you know, the life in prison is just like the death penalty because it's not a life. You're just alive. But they do these things. Sometimes they'll keep the top count and they'll drop all the other charges. This stuff happens all the time. You know, this stuff happens all the time. So this is how it goes down here in the United States of America. Plea bargains, dropping charges, just, you know, for the expedience to try to get it over with, so there's no trial. So this is how we do it here in this country. And you know, there was a shooting. Speaking of Louisiana, shout out to the people at WBOK 12:30 a.m. I was down there. I mean, not down there, but I was on the Good Morning Show. I was on the Good Morning Show on Monday. I was a featured guest, and then on Wednesday I was on the front porch. You know, Wednesday I was on the front porch for a segment. So shout out to the people down there in Nolens, New Orleanians, who have embraced the Ron Kelly Show. And you know, right after I got off the air, there were some people who wanted to friend me on Facebook. So I'm looking at the you know, where the people are from, and you know, there were quite a few people from New Orleans who wanted to friend me on Facebook, which was great. You know, that they're accepting the Ron Kelly Show down there in New Orleans. So shout out to them. Shout out to Charla. Hope everything is okay with you. And yeah. So yeah, the Ron Kelly Show, WBOK 12:30 a.m. So it's Monday over there. The Ron Kelly Show on Monday. Yeah, on Monday. So again, you know, if you're having trouble with the Ron Kelly Show on Facebook, you can check me out on, you can check out the show on LinkedIn. This is so annoying what's going on here with Facebook. I just don't understand. Check out the show. But yeah, but go to LinkedIn, or you can go to the Ron Kelly Show on YouTube. And you know, eventually what I'm going to do is just stop broadcasting the show on Facebook completely, because it's getting to be a real problem. Because I'm checking back and forth on LinkedIn, and the show, the screen is frozen. I'm not 100% sure why. And I'm not supposed to talk about this. You know, professionally speaking, I'm not supposed to talk about this while I'm on the air, but it's just so annoying. You know. Anyway, take a break, come back with more. The Ron Kelly Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com. The Ron What's good, everybody? It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. Boy, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the Ron Kelly Show .com. Yeah, what's good, everybody? It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. I don't get it. Boy, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the Ron Kelly Show. Yeah. I don't get what's going on, but we're here. And we got to do our things. We got to shout out for the folks down at WBOK 12:30 a.m. in New Orleans. Shout out to, I'm not even sure who. Somebody thumbed me up. You know what? Don't forget next Thursday. Next Thursday it's going to be Alex Mendez. Alex Mendez just recently had his court case dismissed. Alex Mendez is a councilman in the city of Paterson, New Jersey. He's running for mayor, and they dismissed his case. There was a case against him for voter fraud, and Alex Mendez got his case dismissed. Now there's still another person who's running for mayor. Goes by the name of Michael Jackson, the councilman of the First Ward, who's also running for mayor in the city of Paterson, New Jersey. For those of you who are not familiar with northern New Jersey area, people who are listening in other parts of the country, excuse me for a moment. But yeah. So we're gonna have Alex Mendez. He's gonna be here. Alex Mendez is going to be here on the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program next Thursday, and we're gonna have a conversation about the city of Paterson, because everybody's, because you got 44 people running for council at large, or so it seems. There's so many people running for council at large, you got to get in line. They got to expand the voting booth to fit all the names on the ballot, because there's so many people who are running for council at large in the city of Paterson, New Jersey. And you have the incumbent Andre Sayegh, who's been on the show. You have Michael Jackson, who's the First Ward councilman. You got Alex Mendez, and there's somebody else who's running. So many people, you need a scorecard to keep up with all of them. But it's going to be interesting. So next Thursday night, 7 p.m., Alex Mendez, who's a councilman in the city of Paterson, who's running for mayor, the great city of Paterson, New Jersey. He'll be here on the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and I'm going to try to get Casey Melvin back on the show, because we had some technical issues when Casey Melvin was on the show about a month or two ago. Casey Melvin, who's running for council at large, was on the program, and we're going to try to get him back. There's a couple of people who reached out to me who wanted to be on the program as well. Victor Urbeyes already knew. I know Victor Urbeyes from years ago when I was on his committee. I don't know if he's going to be on the show. Jilman Chadjuri, I can't say his name. He did reach out to me to be on the Ron Kelly Show, but we'll see what happens. There's not much time left. There's only a few weeks. I think the election is in May, so there's not a lot of time left. So we'll see what we can do about getting some of those people on the air. But next Thursday, and I'm sure, you Pattersonians, you're going to be interested to see Alex Mendez, who just had his voter fraud case dismissed. He just had his voter fraud case dismissed about a week or so ago, without prejudice. So there's because when a case is dismissed with prejudice, that means basically that you cannot come back. The prosecution can't come back and press for that case to be reopened, or you don't get a second bite at the apple when the case is dismissed with prejudice. But when the case is dismissed without prejudice, that means that the government, the prosecution, the law enforcement can come back and reopen that case, or reapply their case, resubmit the case, I should say, to the court. So Alex Mendez, who will be here next week, his case was dismissed without prejudice, which means that case can be brought back up again. So if the government or the state of New Jersey or who the election commission sees that there's more evidence, there's something else, then they'll bring that case back and Alex Mendez can be brought back. But right now he's free, man. It's been dismissed without prejudice. So we're going to talk to him. We got a lot to cover. So we'll have Alex Mendez here next week right here on the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Take a break and come back with more. It's the Ron Kelly Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the Ron Kelly Show.com. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
Then welcome back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and WBOK 12:30 a.m. in Nolens. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for those of you who are joining me. Don't forget again, next week it's going to be Alex Mendez. Alex Mendez. The guy you guys love to hate, Alex Mendez, will be here on the program next week. Yes, sir. So look for that. Look for Alex Mendez, who'll be here next week on the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. Yeah, Alex Mendez. So, so shout out to my people at Amica and Porterfield Transportation. Don't you know, for 45 years, Amica,
the Ron Kelly Show.
And
Real talk,
Porterfield.
bold truth. Tune in for your weekly.
No, not now. Okay, yeah. So, the Amica and Porterfield Transportation since 1980 for 46 years. This is the 46th anniversary of Amica and Porterfield Transportation. Black-owned business, providing safe, reliable transportation to and from your destination. School trips, school districts, private school transportation, casino trips, senior trips, you name it, Amica and Porterfield can handle it. So just give them a call, 908-753-6423. Once again, 908-753-6423. You can email them at amaker.porterfield@verizon.net. That's amaker, AMAKER .Porterfield, PORTER, FIELD, at Verizon.net. That's amaker.porterfield at Verizon.net. The Amica and Porterfield Transportation is your source for reliable transportation to and from your destination. Take a break and come back with more. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com.
The Ron Kelly Show. Real talk, bold truth. Tune in for your weekly dose of unapologetic conversations that don't dodge the truth or dilute the message. Stay informed on the issues that matter most on The Ron Kelly Show, every Monday at 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m.
Yes, indeed. Mondays at 7 p.m. It's WBOK 1230 a.m. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. It's 25 minutes past the hour. It's NFL Draft Night. So we're going to see the disappointment, because they never pick who you want. You know, they never pick who you think they should pick. But it's a business, you know. But but the combine is almost kind of like, back in the day, way back in the day, when they used to sell slaves back in the day, and they would have the slaves stand up on the box, on a wooden box or whatever, some kind of elevated platform, and they would have the slaves stand up there, and then they would have the slave stand up there, and they would, bid on the slave. They would bid, the slave owners would bid on the slave, the biggest, the most muscular slave, the youngest, because the old slaves, the slaves basically got old, and the ones they was buying and selling were new slaves. So the slaves would stand on the elevated platform, and they would bid. The slave owners would bid on the slaves. And you look at the combine, and yeah, they it's almost kind of like the same. I mean, it's not to that degree, but the NFL combine is like that. They want to see how fast you can run. They want to check out your footwork. They have a weight program, how much weight you can lift, how much you can bench press. So it's almost, it's not exactly slavery, but it's almost kind of like, you look at the NFL combine, because they're timing everybody. They're seeing how high you can jump, how fast you can run, your footwork, before they draft you. So it's, I just kind of think of the back in the day when they were, black folks were being bought and sold by slave owners. That it's almost the same thing. And fast forward to today, there's no black people, no black owners of a football team. Now there's people who have invested in them. The Williams sisters and some other folks have, black folks with some money have invested in have invested in the NFL teams, but like the Williams sisters have invested in the Miami Dolphins, for example. But they own a sliver of the Miami Dolphins, just a sliver, and they have no power to decide, they have no power to decide what, no power, no voting power. So the only black person that I'm aware of that ever owned a team was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan owned the Charlotte Hornets. And Michael Jordan owned the Charlotte Hornets. He doesn't anymore, but he's the only black person that I'm aware of that ever owned an NBA team or a NFL team. So Michael Jordan owned the NBA team, but no black person has ever owned a NFL team. Ever. And they're trying to get rid of the Rooney Rule, because the Rooney Rule is a joke. I mean, I know Art Rooney, his heart was in the right place. Got the NFL draft coming on tonight. Art Rooney's heart was in the right place. I give him credit for that. But the Rooney Rule was a requirement that the owners were required to interview at least 2 black candidates. And see now, when they talk about the DEI and some of the other things, I have to agree that, because black folks shouldn't be given, black folks shouldn't be given a chance to, or shouldn't be put to the front of the line or to the middle of the line just because they're black, because it insinuates, like with affirmative action and some of these other things, it insinuates that we, or the purpose of the affirmative action and DEI has been skewed. And the people who have benefited the most from DEI is white women, not black people. White women. Now, I remember when Charlie Kirk was still alive, Charlie Kirk said that when he saw a black pilot on a plane, he would wonder if the person was a DEI hire, DEI being diversity, equity, diversity, equality, and inclusion. That's what DEI stands for. And I remember when Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk, who got shot in the neck and died, who said famously is that when he got on a plane and he saw a black pilot, he would wonder if that black pilot was a DEI hire, meaning that the black pilot was given, he didn't have to score like everybody else. And that's the implication about DEI and affirmative action. Affirmative action for college, for example, is like, okay, the black man, give him a break because he's not as smart as everybody else, and he's, let's give him a chance, And I'm just like, wow. So I am against DEI, and I'm against affirmative action. I don't think that we should get a break. Because they do it in municipalities, New York, for example, with the, dumbing down the firemen's course so black people have a chance. I'm definitely against all of that stuff. I'm definitely against all of that. But, Art Rooney, his heart was in the right place when they implemented the Rooney Rule into the NFL. Rooney Rule meaning that you have to interview at least 2 black head coaches or 2 minorities, specifically black people. You had to interview 2 black people for the head coaching position. So many of the owners just said, okay, let's just they interviewed 2 black people that they had no intention of hiring. That they have no intention now. Are there black head coaches in the NFL right now? Yeah, I know New York. The New York Jets have a black head coach. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a black head coach. There's a couple of teams that have black head coaches. But now what's going on in Florida, they're DeSantis, Trump wannabe, DeSantis and his people, now they're trying to say that the Rooney Rule is unfair. That the Rooney Rule unfairly gives blacks a seat at the table. But the Rooney Rule, all the teams have to do is hire. They have to, they'll interview 2 white, 2 black head coach positions, the people who they're never going to hire. Look at Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy has been in the league forever, and he's a proven winner, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Eric Bieniemy, who hasn't gotten the job. Eric Bieniemy has not gotten the job, and he's been, he's been there forever. He's a Super Bowl winning coordinator. And Eric Bieniemy just can't get a job for some reason. Eric Bieniemy cannot get a job. So, what are you going to do? Anyway, everybody, it's about 26 minutes before the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. So we're having a lot of trouble with having monumental trouble with Facebook for some reason. And I'm not sure what it is. I've done all the research and all the back and forth with them, and just unbelievable. Anyway, everybody, it's 35 minutes. 35 minutes before the hour of 35 minutes before the hour of the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Yeah, so I'm live on yeah. Yes, sir. Okay, everybody. It's about 24 minutes before the hour. Just a few minutes before the before the NFL draft, and I'll definitely be watching. I'll be watching to try to see what's going on, see who's gonna screw up. Because every year it's so frustrating to watch, especially when if you're a Cowboy fan and you're watching Jerry Jones. It's so it's so unbelievably crazy, you know. So anyway, take a break, come back with more. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
Welcome back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. And it's on blogtalkradio.com, the Ron Kelly Show. .com, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all over the place. Well, maybe not necessarily on Facebook. It's just annoying as hell with what's going on in Facebook. But anyway, it's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. You know, this is a tough job. You know, this is a very tough job. You know, because sometimes you just want to throw your hands up in the air. Sometimes, you know, it's like, wow, unbelievable what goes on with the technical stuff. And you know, we got to produce a show because the show now is syndicated, so I have to stay and produce the show at about 20 minutes before the hour. So, yeah, so you know, yeah, admittedly, I've been on internet dating, right? You know, that's another show, but you won't believe some of the things that you hear. You know, well, maybe not necessarily on Facebook. Believe some of the things that you hear. Yeah, you would not believe some of the stuff that you hear. on, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's 20 minutes before the hour. So, so the midterms coming up, and you guys know, how important I think the midterms are. You already know, what I think about the midterms. And I know a lot of us don't get into, a lot of us don't get into, a lot of us don't get into politics, you know. A lot of us don't get into politics. We kind of shy away from it because many of us feel like, no matter what we do, we're still going to be stuck and we're not going to get anywhere. A lot of us think that way. And, I wouldn't say that it's true, but and why people feel the way they feel. I understand why people feel they feel about politics because it's like seem like you just get the same stuff over and over again, the same, you know, year after year. It's the same. Nothing ever changes. You go out there and you put in your vote, and nothing ever changes. You know. So I do get it, and I do understand why people feel the way they feel about politics. I definitely get it. You know. I get it. So I'm hearing that they're gonna redo the different world. Why? You know, why? Why are you gonna redo the different world? You know, that one I don't understand. I don't get that. You know. But yeah. Yeah, so the midterms are coming up, and you know, the midterms are coming up, and we're going to see, you know, if they get back one of these houses of Congress, because you should be scared, you know, everybody should be like, you know, scared of another. You know, whatever Trump's time left is, you know, should be very afraid. You know, because imagine Trump he's got the Senate, he's got the House of Representatives, he's got the Supreme Court, you know, and they're all scared to death of him. He's like the Putin. Like, well, Putin doesn't have to worry about going out and, Putin doesn't have to worry about going out and campaigning. Putin never can. You don't see him out in the street campaigning. He doesn't have to because he knows because everybody is afraid of him, and he knows that he's going to be. He knows that he's going to win. You know, because the people that run against him wind up getting killed. So, you know. So he knows. He knows. So that's why you don't see Putin out on the campaign trail. You know, trying to get votes like we do here. Yeah, so he doesn't have to. He doesn't go out and you know, he doesn't go out and try to get votes. He doesn't have to. You know, he doesn't have to because he knows he's going to win. So coming up, we're going to I believe starting next week I'm gonna try to remove the show from Facebook completely because it's just you know, it's It's just, I just can't take it. So we're going to try to move the show away from Facebook. But yeah, so we got the midterms coming up, and we got to get one of these houses back. Now, the Senate, I don't know, I doubt it, but definitely the House is up for grabs. And so, it's time for us to come together and try to get this thing done. We got to come together and try to get this thing done, because we can't let Trump for another 2 or 3 years continue to do it, because everything is a mess right now. You got the Iran thing and all the blowing up and all the stuff that we did to Iran, and Iran still has they still have uranium. So Trump was telling us that he went into Iran so he could stop them from having weapons grade uranium, but they still have it. They have enough of it. So what was all of this for? What was all of this for? Because they still have weapons grade uranium, and they're still going to and they still have enough of it to make a bomb. So they still have some stuff left. So what was the whole purpose of going to Iran? Well, the whole point to Iran was to divert from Jeffrey Epstein. Because Bill Clinton did the same thing. Democrats are no better. Bill Clinton did the same thing. He launched against Afghanistan, one of those countries over there that wasn't really a threat to no country's a threat to the United States. The only country's a threat to the United States, on the ground, no country, America is superior to every country on the ground and in the air. But when it comes to nuclear weapons, that's a different story. So I was watching a little bit of the interview they were doing today. Trump was talking about, made a speech about healthcare in the Oval Office, and then he allowed some people to, some reporters to interview him afterward. And so he goes, well, somebody asked him, would he ever consider using nuclear weapons? And he said to the person that was stupid, and he just, it's got to be the toughest thing to attend a Trump news conference, and then, because he wants you to ask him what he wants you to ask him. So it's got to be the toughest thing to attend the Trump news conference, because he's going to, if your question is not what he wants to hear, he's going to say you're stupid or whatever, and it's just unbelievable. 10 minutes before the hour. So yeah, so we got to get together. We got to get these midterms going. And I know this is something that a lot of y'all don't even really think about. Lots of folks who listen to the Ron Kelly show don't even think about midterms or anything like that. But we gotta, we have to start thinking about that, because time is short, and we cannot allow Trump to have full control of the Senate and the House. We can't allow for another 2 years. You see what's going on, right? You see what he's doing. So you don't want him to have control of that for another 2 years. So we definitely got to do something about that, about Trump and what's going on with him. We definitely got to handle that. Anyway, everybody, it's about 10 minutes before the hour. So we're going to end the show on time today, because I don't want to put the people at WBOK into too much turmoil. So we're going to make sure we end the show on time today. It's about 9 minutes before the hour. Yeah, so the shootings are up, and the man who, and the one thing, it's funny that just when we thought we heard the worst, here comes something else. And something else was the man who shot 8 kids. The guy who 8 children, 7 of them was his kids, and 1 was a cousin. You know, his sister's or his brother's kid. You know, 8 kids. 7 of his own children. Just you know, just when you think you've heard it all, here comes something else. It was 5 girls and 3 boys, ranging in age from 3 to 11. I mean, come on now. According to the office, their mothers identified the children as Jayla Elkins, 3, Shayla Elkins, 5, Kayla Pugh, 6, Layla Pugh, 7, Markaden Pugh, 10, Soraya Snow, 11, Kadarian Snow, 6, and Braylon Snow, 5. I mean, I can't even fathom. I mean, it's hard enough to shoot somebody who deserves it. But I can't even, you know, to wrap my head around taking a gun, pointing it to a child and pulling the trigger. Just for no reason. You know? Now, the guy who shot them, and this is a black man. Black people don't usually do this kind of stuff. Shamar Elkins, who pleaded guilty to a weapons charge 6 years ago, or 7 years ago. He was in the Army National Guard for 7 years. So this is somebody who seemed, you know, like he had it together. He was an Army National Guardsman, you know. I mean, so, yeah, he did have the weapons charge. We don't know what that was about exactly. But it seemed like somebody who, you know, who had it together. And 2 women that he tried to kill, one of them was his wife. They have serious gunshot wounds, but they're expected to survive. One underwent surgery on Monday, a few days ago. So, you know, mental illness is real. You know what I mean? Because something got to be wrong with you, and he looks like something is wrong with him. Now I'm looking at his mugshot. I mean, something's got to be wrong with you for you to kill your own children, no less. You know, he killed his own children. So, I mean, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, man, I tell you, like I said, you know, it's real. It's real. So, yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah. Okay, I'll do that later. Yeah, your own children. Can you imagine? You know, I can't. I can't imagine shooting my own kids. You know. I can't imagine shooting my own kids. It's just unbelievable. Anyway, it's about 6 minutes before the hour. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up the program. Apologize to the folks on Facebook who are used to watching me on Facebook. We'll figure it out. Anyway, everybody, we'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Ron Kelly Show. So until then, I like to say it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Don't forget Alex Mendez next week. And we may not have it all together, but together we can definitely have it all. Thank you so much. I am